comfy. If you want, of course, you can always grab a pillow to sit on if you want. We'll be there for just a little bit. And if you want actually to grab a pillow, if you have one nearby, you might want to, since we're going to do a little bit of restorative stuff, you might want to put it under your knees later, or you might want to lay back on it. So grab a pillow if you have one. I think that'll be really nice. Perfect. I love that. All right, so you can sit on that pillow, or you could just keep it off to the side. It's your choice, however you want to find a comfortable seat. I'm going to be there just for a little bit of time. So find that seat and just let your hands either rest in the middle of your lap or on your knees. You can start to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and feel your lungs expand all the way to the top. And can you get a little bit more empty every single time you take a breath out? Can you empty all the way out to the bottom? Not really forcing it, but just noticing how you can start to lengthen the inhale, as well as the exhale. Letting our theme for today be about just landing where you are, but also lessening the fear to embrace a little bit of change. But also just knowing that you have landed just as you are and exactly where you need to be in that journey that you're on. And see if you can just sit with that idea for a moment or two, coming back to the awareness of your breath, just to anchor you right here and right now, feeling that sense of gratitude for all that your body does without even having to think about it. Notice if you're holding tension in the shoulders. Maybe even start to think of the bottom tips of your shoulder blades behind you on your back, drawing down. And then just slightly close together so you can feel your collarbones expand through the front side of your body. And take a full breath in. Again, fill it all the way up to the top. And breathe all the way out. Empty until you reach the bottom of the breath. And letting it be like a wave. Again, you'll breathe in, fill all the way up. And breathe all the way out. And slowly start to drop your chin towards the center of your chest. You're going to stay in a seat, but start to roll your right ear over to your right shoulder. And pause. And then your chin back through the center of your chest, left ear to your left shoulder. Pause. Chin back through the center of your chest. You're going to lift your chin a little bit higher up towards the sky just for a moment. And then gaze straight forward. Maybe even start to blink your eyes open as you sit up really tall. You're going to stay in this seat, but start to take your arms behind you. You're going to bend at the elbows and just interlace your fingers together and press your palms together. Your thumbs come to your sacrum, your low back. And start to think about the heads of your shoulders drawing back to broaden a little more. Now you get to squeeze the shoulder blades together a little more. Take a breath in, maybe lift your chin. And then a big breath out to bring it back to center. You're going to keep that clasp of the hands. Take your hands to your right hip. So you're just bringing that around and over. So your left forearm is like on your low back. Sit up tall here. Maybe even press your palms together a little more. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. You get a different stretch, maybe a little deeper. Now imagine you had a pencil on the tip of your nose. You're going to draw a line with your nose straight up towards the sky. And then take a breath out. Draw that line straight down towards the ground in front of you. Do that one more time. Inhale to lift the nose, the chin. And a breath out to draw it down. And then come back through center. Lift the crown of your head up. You'll reach the arms out and up and overhead. And then start to twist to your right. Left hand to your right knee. Your right hand could just fall behind you. Take a breath in to sit up taller. A breath out to look over your right shoulder. And you'll keep your left hand where it is, face the front, but reach your right arm up. And start to just cross your arms in front of you. You're going to keep them there and lift your heart. Take an inhale, almost like you're lifting it through your arms. And then take an exhale. Keep your arms crossed, but round and almost lean back to deepen that stretch in between your shoulder blades. And start to take the arms out to the side like the T. And then take your hands behind you again. You'll interlace the hands. Thumbs can come to your low back, squeezing the elbows back in space. Just for a moment, lift the chin, lift the gaze. And then exhale, bring it back to center. You're going to keep that clasp, bring it to your left hip. Sit up tall as you inhale. Press your left hand into your right palm. Keep that and tip your left ear to your left shoulder. It doesn't have to be deep, just enough to breathe into that sensation. And with the awareness of the tip of your nose, draw that line straight up towards the sky and then down towards the ground. Use your breath. One more inhale to lift up. Use the exhale to draw that line down to the ground. Coming back through center, you'll start to unravel the arms, reach them up. Twist to the left, right hand to your left knee. A breath in to sit up taller. And a breath out to look over your left shoulder. And keep your right hand where it is, reach the left hand up. You cross the left arm on top. Keep that letter X, lift your chest as you inhale. And exhale to round and lean back, maybe chin towards your chest. And then unravel the arms, sweep them out and up. You'll lift up. And just for a moment, take your hands behind you. Your fingers can draw out and just plant your feet about hips width distance. You're going to lift your feet up, and it doesn't have to be big, like a big reverse tabletop. It's just enough to lessen the sensation in the feet. Maybe you shake the hips side to side, rock side to side. And then you'll sit back down on the ground, remove the blankets or the pillow that you had, if you had it. And you'll take it off to the side, plant your hands down, and just find tabletop pose. So you're in your hands and your knees. Spread your fingers wide underneath your shoulders. And take a breath in to lift your chest up, a full inhale. And then the exhale to round, and I want you to pause here. Stay rounded in cat, but see if you can lean back just a little bit more. Think your feet almost towards your heels. Maybe your palms start to lift up away from your mat. You come to the pads of your fingers so you can stay rounded and stretch a little more in the upper back. And then sit back on your heels, walking your hands back behind you. You're just going to plant your fingertips and lift your chest. Lift your chin if that feels good. Take one more breath in and a breath out. And start to come up onto your knees. You're going to reach your hands up and overhead and drop your right hand down. Just tip over to the right. Like you were really, really reaching through your left fingertip. Find that length. Come back up through center. Reach right hand up. Drop your left hand down and lean over to the left. And then back up through center. Reach both hands high. Start to take your hands to your hips. You're going to step your right foot forward. And I want you to heel toe it just a little bit wider than your right hip. Right? So your hips are still facing forward, but that right foot comes wide. Start to drop your hands down inside of your right foot. Now to get a little bit more of a stretch in the quad, which I know that you probably are seeking after all of those squats, you can come to what we call lizard here. So to your degree, if it's coming to the pads of your fingertips, you stay there. If it's grabbing that pillow and putting your hands on the pillow, that might feel good. But rather than just sinking down into that hip, I want you to just start to find a little bit of sensation shifting forward and lifting your chest. And then exhale to pull your hips back. It doesn't have to be big. You can start to lengthen that right leg. It doesn't have to be so long. That right knee can stay soft. And you flex the right toes up towards the sky. You're going to rock back and forth between those two shapes. Inhale, send you forward into that lizard, keeping the back knee down, lifting the chest. And then exhale to pull the hips back. And that right leg can be long, toes point up to the sky. One more time like that. Inhale, start to shift forward and you broaden. And exhale to pull back, shifting back, maybe even rounding here. If that feels good. You're going to shift back forward. Start to tuck your back toes under. And just start to remove anything you had underneath your hands. You're going to look over to the left. And start to find a wide leg forward fold. So you're just going to parallel the feet. And keep your hands under your shoulders here. So it's like almost like a flat back, and just bend your left knee. Getting into that inner right thigh as you press down through the right foot. And then come back through center, straighten both legs. You'll just bend through the right knee. Keeping your chest parallel to the ground. And then come back through center. Start to see your right foot again. You're going to frame it coming back into that low runner's lunge. Bending your back knee, bringing it down to the ground, and sweep your hands forward and up. Now both arms will rise here. And then drop your right hand down, just like you did on both knees. Lean over to the right to deepen that stretch in the front of your left thigh. And even the front of your left hip. And then reach both hands up. Take a huge inhale, maybe even look up. And then exhale, hands coming down. You'll frame your right foot, no big deal. You're just going to tuck your back toes. Find downward facing dog just for a moment. Don't worry, we're not here long. You can pedal out the feet. Take a breath in. You'll rise up to your toes. And then just find child's pose. Knees can come as wide as they need to be. Your big toes can even come together to touch. And your belly can just rest in that space in between your thighs as you reach your fingers a little bit further forward. Your forehead can drop. Take a few rounds of breath just to settle in, soften. And then when you're ready, you'll shift back onto your hands and your knees. Tabletop pose. Right into that cow, taking the breath in to lift through the chest. And then exhale to round like cat. Stay rounded, but slowly shift back. Almost like you were sitting on your heels. You're almost about to find that, but lift the palms up, tent the hands. Then you get to sit on the heels, but walk the hands back towards your toes. Fingertips find the ground, and you lift the chest right here. Take a breath in, maybe lift the chin. And a big breath out. You're gonna rise up onto your knees as you reach the hands high here. Take a breath in. This time you drop the left hand down and you lean over to the left. Reach with the right fingertip. Rising back up, reach your left hand up. Keep it there, drop right hand down and you lean to the right. Back up through center, reach both hands high. Bring your hands to your hips. You get to step your left foot forward this time and maybe you just heel toe it a little wider than your hip. And if you want that pillow inside the left foot, just something to rest your hands on that can feel nice. And you're going to bring your hands both inside of that left foot and take that breath in to almost shift your weight forward. Don't let the right hip just sink down, but can you shift a little forward and lift through the chest? Finding that stretch in the front of the right leg, and then exhale to pull back in space. Your hips go back, left leg long, left toes point up towards the ceiling. And those two shapes, you move through them 2 times. Inhale, shift forward, back into that lizard, lifting through the chest. And then exhale to pull back in space. Your hips go back, left leg long. One more like that. Inhale, bend through the left knee, lifting the chest high. And then exhale, pulls you back. That left leg goes longer. And you're coming back into that lunge just for a moment, moving that pillow off to the side if you had it. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and just look to the right, and it's your wide leg forward fold. And be sure that the heels are in the same line. Hands under your shoulders, again, halfway lift. Keep your chest where it is, just bend through your right knee. And you're finding that like asymmetrical sort of side lunge here. And as you press down through that left foot, feel the inner left thigh get a little bit longer. And then straighten both legs. Bend through the left knee, right leg long. Straighten the left leg, chest stays parallel to the ground, pausing here for a moment. Now take the breath out just to fold forward and really let your head drop. You can shake out the head, yes and no. And come into that halfway lift again, reaching your heart forward. You'll see your left foot, frame it, coming into a lunge. Hands plant on the ground, just step back to downward facing dog. Again, pedal out the feet. And when you're ready, you'll rise up to your toes. Start to bend your knees. They find the ground right into your tabletop pose, lifting the chest. Take a big breath in. And then exhaling to round, maybe deepen that stretch by leaning back. Now this time you're going to shift back forward. Start to reach your right hand up to the sky. You're still in this tabletop shape, but your right arm reaches up. Now take the exhale to thread it through. So your right hand will come between your left hand, your left knee, like you are reaching away from your mat. And then your right ear or your right temple can come to the ground if that feels okay. And then start to interlace your fingers. Your palms will just press together right in front of your face here. And you're going to start to press down. And then maybe start to lift your chest high, but only if that feels okay to twist. Doesn't have to be so deep. But maybe as you start to press down through your hands, you almost lean away from your hands to deepen the stretch in the right shoulder blade area. And then slowly you'll send your left hand back down and reach your right hand up just to where you started. And set your right hand back down on the ground. You're going to take your right leg long, but straight out to the side. Like you were just stamping your foot, kind of like similar to how we were on the side of our mat, but you're going to stamp that right foot down. Start to take a breath in and reach your chest forward, almost like lean forward like cow. And then exhaling, you're going to just pull back. It's one-legged child's pose. So the inseam of your right leg gets a little bit longer here. If you want a little bit more to intensify that stretch, you can flex your foot and send your toes up towards the sky. Maybe start to walk your hands over to the right. Pausing here, take a full breath in. Big breath out. And bringing your hands back through center, you're just going to shift back forward. So a little bit different here. You're going to pick this right foot up. You're going to swing it back behind you. So that right leg goes long behind you. Bend the knee 90 degrees. You're going to press that heel up to the sky just for a second. And then your right knee will snug behind the left knee. Take your feet wide apart. Squeeze your inner thighs together. And now it's just like you were coming into a child's pose. You're going to just send your seat back. It won't find the ground, but your heart goes forward. And then you round through the spine. So you get a little bit more of a stretch through the hips here. And then you'll shift back forward, weight onto that left knee again, just for a breath. You'll send that right leg behind you. Set the right knee back down on the ground. Around this cat-cow, lifting the heart, take a full inhale. And then exhale, you round the spine, maybe even tip back a little bit more. And then you're coming back to tabletop pose, but you lift the left arm up. Take a big breath in. And then exhale to thread it through. You'll reach over to the right. Your left ear, your left temple can find the ground. Now it's your right hand that interlaces right on top of the left, pressing the palms together. So you can almost deepen or start to explore the sensations across your left shoulder blade. So notice as you press down into your hands a little more, you can get different sensations in between the shoulder blades or in your upper back. And once you've completed that sensation, you'll send your right hand back on the ground to support you and pick the left hand up. Take a big breath in. Set the left hand back down and start to send your left leg out to the left. You're going to stamp that foot on the ground, lifting the chest, almost like you are coming forward for cow here. And then exhale to start to send your seat back. That left leg stays long. It's that long-legged, one-legged child's pose. If you want to stay here, you can. If you want to change the sensation, you can flex through the foot. Maybe walk the hands over to the left a little more. One more full round of breath right here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hands going forward. You're going to shift back forward. That left leg stays long for a moment. You're just going to pick it up, send it back behind you, and bend your left knee. Now you're going to cross your left knee behind the right. Your feet go wide apart. And just send your feet back like child's pose. Explore this sort of sensation in the body. Take a breath in to fill up. And then the breath out to enter in a little bit more ease into places that feel stagnant or stuck. A little more release. Shifting the weight back forward. You'll send that left leg behind you first. And then set your left knee next to the right, tabletop pose. One round of regular cat-cow. One last time, lifting the heart. And then exhale to round. And then you'll slowly come back to the middle. And you'll start to walk your hands back towards your knees just for a moment. We're taking two more shapes here. You're going to bring your hands to your hips. One last time, you're going to step that right foot forward and bring it a little bit wider. We're coming into lizard. But I want you to turn your right toes out to 2 o'clock. Just a little bit wider so you can get a little bit more of a stretch here. You'll reach your hands up, take a big breath in. And then your hands can come down inside of the foot. Now you have the option here to stay or bring your right hand to the inside or the top of your right thigh. And then maybe start to spin your chest and look over your right shoulder. You can deepen that stretch. Now, if that feels really good and you want a little bit more of a stretch in the left quad, you can bend that left knee a little more. Maybe reach for the foot. You may not even find it, but you can still create that sensation. Stay one more full breath in. Breath out. And then reach the right hand up. Let it land inside the foot as you turn the right toes forward for a moment. And then pull your hips back. Just lengthen that right leg like we did before. Just one time. That's it. Take a full breath in to stay. A big breath out to empty. And you're going to keep your leg where it is. Walk your hands back underneath you, lifting your heart, bringing your hands to your hips. And then start to just bring that right knee to meet the left. You just land where you started. Take a breath in to fill all the way up. And a big breath out to step the left foot forward. Heel toe a little wider. The toes point out slightly. Reaching your arms up first. Take a big breath in. And let them land inside the left foot for your lizard pose. Now you can stay right hand on the ground. Maybe both hands on the ground. Maybe left hand to the top of your thigh. Maybe if you want, you can start to look over your left shoulder or left elbow rather. That feels better. Stay here or bend through the back knee. Maybe you reach towards your toes with that left hand. You're not here long, just 2 rounds of breath wherever you land. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more round on your own. And you're releasing that hand. Bring it inside your leg. Your left toes, point them forward. Take a breath in to broaden. And the breath out to pull the hips back and lengthen through the left leg. Pressing the heel down towards the ground. Walk your hands closer. You're going to lift back up. Bring your left knee to the ground. And just for a moment, you can even grab that pillow. This will feel nice. You're going to place that pillow just in front of you and take your knees a little bit wider apart. And just finding a supported child's pose on that pillow or bolster. If you feel like that pillow does not serve you in any sort of way or give you any more support, you can just place it off to the side. We're not here too long, and then we're going to switch onto our back. So just take a moment to just rest or settle. Maybe one ear comes to that pillow. You can even close your eyes. Staying here as long as you need, or starting to lift your chest back up. Keep that pillow nearby. You're going to just slide it around to the side and come to a seat. Your legs come out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a shake. And you'll slowly start to take that pillow behind you, long ways, right? And enough so it can just land right behind you, and you can start to lie back on it. So your chest is just lifted a little bit more. And then reach your hands straight up towards the sky. Make sure your head and neck are supported in some sort of way that feels good. And then start to take your elbows out a little wider and take your arms out like a T here. And let the back of your hands find the ground in a place that feels good for you. And this is not our final resting shape quite yet, but it's a place where you can start to lengthen the space or open the space in front of your chest here, in front of your heart, across the front of your shoulders. If you need to bend the elbows, of course, bend the elbows. Maybe start to wiggle the toes. Notice if you're holding tension there. So we call this shape supported fish, or Matsyasana. And oftentimes it's a nice place to observe the breath. So really starting to notice that expansion as you breathe in. Notice how you can land a little bit more as you breathe out. And take 2 rounds just like this, breathing in to expand. Breathing out to land. All the way in to the top. All the way out to the bottom. And if this is exactly where you want to stay, of course you can stay. Or if you'd like one last shape, or using that blanket, or using that pillow as a prop rather, or a blanket as well, you can roll off to the side of that pillow. You're going to slide it just out from underneath you, and you can slide it underneath your knees. Now, if you have that like skinny pillow, you might even want to turn it on its side, right? So the skinny side just snugs right up into your creases of your knees, right underneath. And then if you have that blanket, you can roll it and place it underneath your neck for support, or just as a pillow underneath your head. So this allows the knees to be a little bit more elevated so the low back can really melt into the ground. Take your arms down along your sides, and again, as you close your eyes, let every muscle from your toes all the way out through the crown of your head. Let every muscle start to just soften and give it permission to relax or release. You don't have to fear change. But what you do need to fear, a friend once told me, is things remaining the same. When that happens, life has stopped. Life is an evolution. Your life is constantly, quietly evolving each moment into something new, something different, something that adds gracefully, beautifully, and perfectly to what was. You can trust that process with all its insights, clarity, confusion, and even emotions. You can trust that process with its peace, its joy, laughter, and even its side trips. Learn to honor and love the process of continual evolution and transformation. It's how things grow. It's how you grow. It's how life is. So learn to embrace change. Allow your next breath to be just a little bit bigger than the last, waking your body up. Knowing that you have created a little bit more space in your body just by moving, by breathing. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, and start to bend your knees a little bit more than they're already bent, and then just roll to your side and slowly start to bring yourself up to a seat. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart, bowing your chin slightly towards that space. Reconnect with your breath again, fill all the way up with it. Breathe all the way out, send it out. And take your thumb tips to the center of your forehead, remembering to be kind to yourself. And of course, share that kindness with others. Namaste.